Hey, welcome to Chaos Live. It got a little stuck there on the video for a second there, so might as well just jump in now, I guess. What's happening, guys? So welcome to Chaos Live. If you are not familiar with Chaos Live, my fun little live stream to hang out with you guys, answer questions, talk about our feelings, you know, whatever the case might be, I guess. All right, so we got some awesome people, part of the notification platoon here early. We got Evie, of course. We got Noah, Johnny, Anakin, Johnson, Cosmic, Tyler, Holy Hand Grenade, Bishop, Todd, Colin, Nicholas, Doug the Eliminator, Bill, no, I already said Noah, but hey, Noah gets said twice, I guess. Frank, awesome. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming to hang out. So if you guys have questions, drop them down in the chat down there. I noticed for whatever reason, it says the signal strength is only good. Normally I have really excellent signal strength. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'm using too much bandwidth in the house, streaming stuff for the daughter watching Little Mermaid or something. I don't know. Hopefully we don't lose any kind of weird connection. Well, now it's back to excellence. We're good. Okay. So if you have questions, drop those in the chat. We'll do the best to answer what we can and all that stuff. Man, it's been a while since you streamed. It's not true, Cosmic. I was streaming Monday. We did some Call of Duty. And then the previous Thursday, I was on here. So every Monday and Thursday, I've been here. I don't think we've missed one in a little while. So it was back in January where I missed a week. Hey, buddy, I'm about to go in the Army. I got to take my ASVAB. Well, good luck to you, Todd. Study real hard. I thought about, okay, so for you awesome individuals that are, early into this live stream and everything like that, I thought about maybe doing something. I don't know if I'd do it like on a weird time or if I do it as a live stream or like a video or what, but an ASVAB like study session kind of a thing. I was going to do something. I got like these ASVAB study cards that I got, and I was going to do something with them right here, right? Maybe I could do something where I do a video where we're just kind of going through these study cards, and if you're studying for the ASVAB, you can kind of like tune into the video and try to answer the questions from the study cards, either as a live stream or as a dedicated video. So what do you guys think? Do you think that would be a cool something for those of you maybe that want to join the Army and you study for the ASVAB? Would that be something you'd be interested in? Would you be interested in that as a live stream? Or would you be interested in that as just a dedicated video where maybe I have a video that does, like 10, 20 questions or something like that each week. And then you can kind of like, recycle those videos and rewatch them to keep restudying those. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I thought about doing something like that. Say hey, still have admin privileges. That's right. Holy Hand Grenade, I'm trusting you to still do the responsible thing and keep people in check in the chat for me. What's happening? Colin, Nicholas. We got Doug. Oh yeah, so I don't know if I tried to answer real quick in the chat. It doesn't look like he answered, but I thought it was kind of cool. From Bill. I'll catch you in the morning. Got to go to bed. They showed a video of yours during communications training today, your 2-Minute Tuesday, about talking on the radio. So I was kind of curious. Was that like, are you an AIT and they did this, or some kind of other training? I don't remember. I don't think I remember if, like you said, you're an AIT or if you're in the Army or what the case was. Maybe like a future soldier program. What's the deal? Thinking I should have changed my phone. Charged your phone? Oh, charged your phone. Yeah, well, possibly. Unless you got an outlet nearby and you can plug it in. How many times was I hurt in the military? I don't know. I don't think I really kept track. Holy Hand Grenade, be careful, he's going to lay down law. How is the weather out here, Doug? Well, it is cold as crap. We've been getting a lot of off and on snow. Today was partly cloudy and 23 degrees currently outside, so it's cold as hell. Traffic was a nightmare trying to get home because Trump is in town doing a speech, and where he was going to happens to be kind of in the way of where I have to get home. So it was a nightmare trying to get home today. So that's also a lead into how's my night from Brian. And so yeah, it's okay. Other than it took me a lot longer to get home than it normally does. So yeah, big fan of yours. How was your day? Other than what I just talked about, but thank you for being a big fan, Noah. What's the most adrenaline-filled moment in your time in the military? I don't know, probably some different times in Iraq. Probably some different times where you had some, got your heart pumping a little bit and some different things happening, going on and everything. Maybe. I don't know specifically some kind of standout moments, but there's some times definitely in Iraq. What's the marijuana rules in legal states as far as military goes? Illegal. Doesn't matter. So if you're in the military, you work for the government, and you're in a state that has marijuana as legal, it's still illegal for you because it's not federally legal. Now, if they make it to where it is a federal law that marijuana is legal, then it probably would be open for military to be able to use it, probably in the same kind of rule as alcohol, because that's pretty much how they treat it, like in Colorado, where marijuana is legal. But yeah, if you live in a state that weed's legal, it's not illegal for you. If you are in the military, or like in my case, I still hold a secret clearance because of what I do. And so in order to maintain that secret clearance and keep doing the job I do, I can't smoke weed either, even if I wanted to. So yeah. We got a super chat sticker from, what was that? From Team Sports. You rule, man. If you guys not familiar, Team Sports, that's the go-to guy you needed to check out for recruiter type questions. That's your go-to guy. I highly recommend Team Sports. Hit him up, bug him 1 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't care. He doesn't mind. If you want his phone number, I can probably get it to you. No. But Team Sports is definitely highly recommend to go check him out and hit him up with all your recruiter-related questions. He's your guy for that. Hey, Chaos. Leave for basic in a little over a week, and would you have any input on how freaked? Oh, freaked I am if I can't do a pull-up. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Pull-ups aren't necessarily required thing. I mean, you might do them in different times. I mean, you're gonna have to do the leg tuck. If that's what you're talking about, you have to pull your knees up to your legs and everything. We're gonna have a super chat. We'll get to that here in a second. Don't think I missed you. Let me finish answering this question. But pull-ups aren't as big of a deal. I mean, you'll build that upper body strength in basic training anyways. But like when I went to basic training a long time ago, and even current ones, it's not necessarily a requirement, but there might be times where they, make you do a pull-up before you go into the chow hall, or a couple pull-ups, whatever the case is, depending on the basic training you go to and everything. But they don't actually do pull-ups on the physical fitness test. They do leg tucks, which is sort of like it, but I don't think it works. It doesn't work your biceps and your shoulders as much as like a pull-up does. So, but if you really wanted to get better at pull-ups, just do pull-ups, right? That's the best way to do it. Work on your upper body strength, but the leg tucks is what you need to be focused on if that's what you're kind of worried on. So we got another super chat though. Holy hand grenade. Breaking news. There's no water on Fort Riley for God knows how long. Hope nobody is PCS near anytime soon. Why is there no water? Like the water bad? Like what, they had to shut off the water on post? You have to clarify a little bit more on that, holy hand grenade. Thank you for the $5 donation, by the way, man. Oh, and Team Sports, if I didn't say thank you for the donation part of it, thank you, by the way. Where I leave off at now? You guys distracted me. Knocking out early tonight. Good luck on the live stream tonight, and stay blessed. Well, thanks, Team Sports. Appreciate you stopping in. I know it's late where you're at. Over there on the East Coast. So I'm a parachute rigger, but I'm hold under for a couple of months. What are parachute riggers like in the Army? Because so many cadre hate us just for having wings. Jay the Vorn's not in here? I was gonna say, if Jay the Vorn was in here, one of the other admins and stuff like that, he would be the great guy to answer that question. He was a parachute rigger. But I don't know a whole lot about it. It's probably pretty stressful, making sure you get it right and making sure you don't mess it up because people's lives are on the line. But I don't really know a whole lot about it. I know some people that were in airborne units and did airborne stuff, but as far as like actual being a parachute rigger and all that stuff, you have to hit up Jay the Vorn if he was in here in the chat. I don't see him though, so he might not be here, so I can't give you any good insights on that. Question: I'm going to 19 Delta. Is there a way to make educated guesses where I am to be stationed? I am married with 2 kids. Kind of nice to be prepared before I leave for basic and for betting. As a 19 Delta, you can go anywhere that there's cav units, and there's a lot of cav units. So, you know, you can go to Fort Carson, you go to Fort Riley, you go to Fort Hood. You could end up in, I think Fort Irwin probably has some cav units probably too. So, I mean, if there's a cav unit, it's a possibility. You can go to Germany, Korea. So there is no real good one. You'll get like a dream sheet that you'll get to do, probably in OSIT, where you'll get to fill out like your top requested ones. And if one of your top requested places that you want happens to be something that where they need 19 Deltas, then maybe you might get lucky enough to get it. But that really kind of just depends on some of that. Super chat. Was it Umin? I don't know how to say that first name. We'll call you Johnson. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your first name. I'm horrible with trying to pronounce like names and a lot of other things. But Johnson, thank you for the $2 donation. You rock. Appreciate that. Skipping through the chat a little bit because I don't want to get too far behind. Oh yeah. Did people say? Here's some of the people answering about the ASVAB, huh? That'd be awesome. Live stream. Study learning is fun. So that would be awesome, bro. A couple people respond to it, so we'll see. Maybe I'll figure something out. I think it'd be kind of maybe helpful to some people of doing some kind of little study sessions, either in a video or in a live stream. Hey Chris, my name is Patrick. I spent 6 years in the Marine Corps. Is it true that only disabled vets can go to the commissary? Yeah, so starting 1 January of this year, they have it to where they've expanded it because originally it was retirees, or if you're on still on the selective service, you could still do it. But otherwise, outside of that, you have to have some kind of VA rating, some kind of disability from the VA with a VA identification card, and then you can go to the commissary still. But if you're just simply a veteran with no VA disability, you're not retired, then yeah, you can't go to can't get into the commissary. You can go into the commissary, but when you go to the checkout lanes, usually that's when they check for IDs and they won't let you check out. I think it'd be better live so we can ask questions about the topic. That's what I was kind of thinking too about the whole study thing, is that if it was live, you could discuss it a little bit more and kind of get a little more feedback on stuff. I don't know. Chaos is famous in Tradoc. It'd be pretty funny. I know I have a friend who is he's in the reserves, and he sent me a picture one time of their slipped my mind of the name. Their reenlistment NCO. The reenlistment NCO for their reserve unit showing a soldier one of my videos because he was thinking about reclassing to another MOS. So he's showing him an MOS Monday episode that I had on this MOS that he was potentially thinking about reclassing to. And so I thought that was pretty funny. He sent me that picture. I have a question. Do MPs ever see action when deployed? They can. I mean, really almost any MOS can see action when deployed. It just depends on the situation that they're in. But an MP would probably have a greater chance than, say, like a cook or a mechanic or certain other people. What do you consider to be a veteran? Really just someone who served and got out honorably is a veteran. I think there's kind of a couple different categories. There's someone who's a veteran and someone who's a combat veteran. You know, some people have different kind of definitions as far as combat veterans. I feel like a combat veteran should be anyone who deployed to a combat zone. Some people get a little bit more technical with it and feel like a combat veteran is only someone who engaged in combat. I guess it's a personal thing, you know, kind of, I guess. But I feel like if you at least served and you got out honorably, then you're a veteran. If you deployed to a combat zone, then you're a combat veteran. Should be tracking my ASVAB, taking my ASVAB test on Monday. Finally, I'm hoping. Well, good luck to you, Kevin. Hopefully, all goes well. What's the shirt? What's the shirt where there is camo on the sleeves but not on the chest called? The just call it the combat shirt, right? I think it has an official name. Like the shirt that I wear for like the live streams for the gaming one and everything like that. But the soldiers use that too. They usually use that in a combat zone or in training environments so that you're not wearing your bloused top with your vest over top of that. It's a little bit more breathable and a little bit more lightweight and not as bad. We always call it our combat shirt, but I think it has an official name. If somebody remembers the name of that thing, leave it in the comments. Maybe I'll bring it up, but I forget what it's actually, the actual name of it is. Super secret clearance? What are we talking about? Super secret clearance. Any tips on boot camp? Don't call it boot camp. For the Army, it's basic training or basic combat training. But I have some videos that I would recommend probably checking out that go more in depth, but typically expect it to suck and expect the worst. And then if you show up there and it turns out to be a little bit fun, then cool. But if you show up there thinking it's gonna be, oh, this is gonna be cake and this will be easy, and it turns out to be really crappy, then that can really, you know, throw off your whole mojo and everything like that. So I say go into it, you know, expecting it to be the most horrible thing in the world, and then if it turns out to be not as bad as you built it up to be, then it works out a little bit better. What would be possible disqualifications for a secret clearance? I want to go 31 Bravo, and that requires a secret clearance. They look a little bit at your financial history. Not necessarily saying that you have to have like a good credit score type of thing, but they look at your financial history as far as, are you susceptible to bribes, right? So I've known people that have gotten denied security clearances because they have a lot of debt. Maybe they've fallen behind on payments, and so they feel like they're more susceptible to possibly taking bribes in order to take money to give up information, you know, because they need to get out of debt. So that sometimes takes them out, can eliminate someone from secret clearance. Not necessarily like bankruptcy or anything like that. It doesn't necessarily do so. You know, there's an investigator that goes through all this stuff and makes a determination as far as how big of a risk you are for, you know, being you know, subject to some of these sensitive materials. But finances can be a big one. Crime, past, like, you know, history of, you know, trouble with the law. Sometimes, you know, shady stuff, like if you have, you know, they can see that you maybe frequently, you know, visited other countries, you know, and then you can't justify them very well, or you have a lot of relatives that live outside of the country. Sometimes some of that stuff, not necessarily an automatic disqualification, but that can sometimes, depending on the circumstances, end up being problems for you. But the biggest one, I would say, that I see outside of things like being involved with terrorist organizations or, you know, something crazy like that, finances, I see usually a lot of people get screwed over with their secret clearances because they're in debt, they've missed payments, they've got some stuff in collections or something like that, and so they're worried about them being susceptible to bribes. Thank you, boss man. Have a great night, and thanks for the shout out. If you're already gone, Team Swartz, you're welcome, man. Appreciate stopping in. Man, I've gotten kind of behind a little bit here. We're gonna have to skip through a little bit. Hey Chris, I'm here. Been busy with school. No problem, Hernandez. Thanks for dropping in, man. Why did I get a late notice? Yeah, I would always just like expect, you know, to know that you know, around this time on Thursdays, 7:30 Colorado time. I thought about maybe just start putting it out in Zulu time, kind of make you guys, you know, try to figure out what Zulu time is in your location and everything like that. Maybe start using Zulu time for a lot of stuff, but we'll see. But yeah, just if you remember, you know, Thursday ones at least are always 7:30 Colorado time, whatever that is for your time zone. But then the Monday ones, anywhere between 6 and 7:30, I try to start those ones. That one's not as set. It just depends on how early I can start it compared to other times and everything. And we got Jay the Vorn. Hey Chris, what's up? Hey everyone, hit the like button. I agree, Jay the Vorn. Earlier there was someone who asked him about parachute riggers. That's the guy to answer your questions probably about parachute rigging stuff. We got a super chat. Planet Earth, from the entire planet Earth? That's pretty amazing. The whole entire planet Earth sent a super chat? No. $20 donation. Thank you. Username Planet Earth. Hey, Christopher, what's the age limit for 75th Ranger Regiment? What does it take to get there? I think I mentioned it. Did I mention that in my video? I have a video on getting into the Rangers. What is it? What's the video title? If you do it like you know, either now or after the stream, whatever you want to do it like a YouTube search for like ThatChrisChaos Rangers or something like that, and you'll probably find my Ranger video. I feel like in that video I mentioned the age requirement, because I think there is an age requirement before the cutoff, before they'll allow you to attend RASP, which RASP is the school that you have to go through to get into the 75th Ranger Regiment, and you have to go through that course, but not only just pass it, but you have to get selected. So you can pass the entire RASP course But if you weren't in, the field of what they were looking for or whatever, or you didn't, you got peered out, because if you're an asshole to everybody else, they won't take you either. Definitely, check that video out, because that gives a lot of it talks more in depth as far as what's involved with RASP. And then I think in that video I mentioned the age requirement before you can't go to RASP. So definitely check that out. Planet Earth, thank you for the $20 donation. But yeah, hopefully that video should hook you up with all your questions regarding how to get into that. Otherwise, it would take a long time for me to probably try to explain it here, but I have a whole video on it. So definitely check that out, either now or after the stream, whichever you want to do, man. Or girl, or Planet Earth, whatever. Let's see. We'll come back a little bit. Man, you guys are busy in the chat. I'm getting really far behind. When you officially started running 2 miles at basic training, when will you officially start running 2 miles? You'll do that first basic training fitness test towards summer's first couple weeks, maybe the first week, first 2 weeks, something like that. You'll do a diagnostic ACFT, I believe is what they're doing, and then later is the one that counts for the record. But just they start off with ACFT to see where you're at, and then there's the 6 events, and then after 5 events, you have the 2 mile run. So you're gonna have to do one then. So just kind of be aware of that. Been working out like crazy, lost tons of weight. Chris was motivation 1 year in. Well, awesome, Hernandez. Good, glad to hear that. Keep at it. Keep at the fight. I thought about doing some fitness video stuff. I don't know how well that would do though. I'm not like a jacked dude or anything like that, and not even in super great shape either. So I don't know. Maybe I thought about maybe like when it's warmer out, maybe start doing some kind of fitness kind of related in some ways, not too crazy, but I don't know. I always thought that'd be kind of something to add a little bit more diversity to kind of help give people motivation for what kind of workouts to do, what kind of things to do to get in shape and everything, especially if they're training for the Army or just to get in shape in general maybe. But like I said, I'm not a super fitness guru, so probably wouldn't be too crazy with it. Leaving Monday, thanks man for helping a lot. Well, thanks Willie. Good luck to you. Why is there never city fights? I'm talking about city fights. Lost you there. How do you reclass, and is it easy? I don't know if it's easy. Typically, most people that reclass usually do so when they're eligible for re-enlistment, which is usually 1 year out of your end of your contract. So if you did a 4-year contract, then after you've done 3 years in the Army, then you're typically eligible to talk to the re-enlistment NCO to look at your options for re-enlistment. And if you qualify for the MOS you want to reclass to, then you can talk to them about that MOS. If not, maybe you can retake the ASVAB to get that score. But then also it has to come down to, is there slots available, right? So sometimes for that MOS, are they taking people? Are they taking prior service people that already have military experience, or do they want brand new soldiers for this MOS? So that kind of plays a little bit of a factor in there. But that was typically how you do it, unless you're in a situation where your MOS was over-strengthed, and then they usually give people an option to either get out early or reclassify to a different MOS if they qualify for it. But most people that reclassify usually do so when they're eligible to re-enlist, and they re-enlist to reclassify to another MOS. I made it. What's up, Chaos? What's happening, Steven Edwards? How's it going? What is the highest ranks you can get before BCT if you don't have a whole lot of school under your belt? With no education, maybe E2. Because beyond that, there's some other factors that maybe you could do. If you did JROTC in high school, you might be able to get E3. That they're kind of getting kind of strict on that lately, I've seen though, and some people aren't even able to get E3. They still get stuck with E2. But yeah, pretty much for anything beyond E2 usually requires some kind of college education. But you can only go from there to like E3 or E4, depending on how much level of education. So you could probably only go up one rank, possibly. We got super chat. Another one from Holy Hand Grenade. The water pipe broke in 3 different places, and one just so happened to be near the septic system. Oh, that sucks. Man, so what do you guys have to do? Do you live in the barracks, by the way? If you live in the barracks, that sucks, because then you can't shower. On post would even suck too. I mean, I guess regardless, it would suck. Because now you can't you can't shower or anything like that. You would think that they would, well, it'd be kind of tough to put everybody in like an off-post hotel or something like that. Man, they need to get those, for the MOSs, but the bath and laundry specialist people to go set up some water blivets and get some portable showers going for you guys or something like that. That sucks, man. Hopefully they fix the problem soon and you're not out of water for too long, kind of a thing. And thank you for the $5 donation once again. You're awesome, man. Or was it, let me go back a little bit, or there was something I saw. Join the Chaos Army, YouTube member, and get a neat little icon next to your name. Yeah, there you go. If you want a cool rank icon, anyways, that's how you get that. You join the membership. Oh, by the way, probably, I think we're gonna try it after this stream. I'm gonna do a members only live stream. So if you are a member of the Chaos Army, you know, well, actually I'm calling it the 57th Chaos Regiment. So if you're a member of the 57th Chaos Regiment, as in that join button, thing like that, I think after this live stream I'll do a little 20-30 minute live stream for members only. So if you want to come join in on that, you can, and I'll have that set up shortly after this live stream. We'll try it out and try it that way. I know I did one last month in January for members only one where I pre-posted about it to people, so if they wanted to join. I think only Doug the Eliminator showed up to it. I think maybe one other person I think showed up to it. I don't remember if we had 1 or 2 people that showed up, but we'll do a members only live stream after this one. So if I missed your question, maybe you're a member, you can come get a little bit of one-on-one time with me during the members only live stream after this one's over. Are there special operations surgical teams in the Army? I plan to be a critical care nurse, and I heard they are part of those teams. In the Army, I don't know if there is for Army. I mean, there's a Special Forces medic, but I don't think it's the same thing. I think the main thing, probably if you want to do that, you might want to look into the PJs in the Air Force. I think that's a really hardcore one that does, I think, similar stuff to that, but you'd have to do a little research on that part. How do you join the Chaos Army? Well, like I said, the Chaos Army is really just being subscribed to the channel. You're part of the Chaos Army, but if you want to be a part of the 57th Chaos Regiment, then down below there should be a join button. If you're watching this on a mobile device, though, then down in the description there should be a link that you can click on to join the 57th Chaos Regiment and join in all the perks and get a little icon next to your name and all that kind of stuff. Almost forgot what's up, Chris. What's happening, Chris? If Chris misses your question, don't get mad. Ask again or leave a comment later when the video goes up. Yeah, I can't go in order, otherwise it would take so long to get to some of the questions. So I do skip around a lot. Like even right now, I feel like I'm kind of far behind. But yeah, if I miss your question, give it a little bit of time. Try asking it again. If I don't, the best way is if you have a question you feel like is super important and I miss it, hit me up on Instagram. I am not that big of a deal that like I get flooded with Instagram messages, not at this time anyways. But if you hit me up on Instagram, I can usually get back to you within like a couple days, 24 hours, maybe a week at most. I can hit you back up if you just hit me up on Instagram. I'm more than happy to help out and answer your questions through there. Got little baby coming to say goodnight?
Yeah.
Hi, little baby. You coming to say goodnight?
Good night, Dad.
Can I give hugs and kisses? Say hi.
Hi.
You show me all your mermaid? What does the mermaid say?
I don't know.
You don't know? No.
Papa and I always.
Oh, wait. I didn't even understand. Was that mermaid language?
No.
Hi. I'm a mermaid. Hi.
Can you hold her?
You want me to hold the mermaid? During the whole live stream? The whole time? I love you.
Are you gonna talk or no?
You gonna go to bed? You going to bed then?
Yeah. I am.
Okay. Have a good night.
What's my mama do?
Yeah?
Did you give Daddy a hug?
Can you give me a hug? Love you.
Love you.
You're my favorite.
My
That one string too.
Yeah. Bud eats poo sometimes.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Night.
Good night. He's scrolling through a little bit. If they offer airborne while I'm in basic, should I take it or wait? Didn't get it in my contract. Wanted to leave as soon as possible. If airborne is something you want to do and they offer it to you in basic, I would definitely say take it in basic, because if you don't take it in basic and it's something you really want and you wait until you go to your unit, that might be a little bit limited on how many people they can send to airborne school. They may only have, that unit may only have the funds or the slots to send, let's say, maybe 2 people for that entire unit. And they're going to get really competitive with who they send. So I would say if airborne is something you're interested in and you really want to do, and they offer you a chance to do it while you're in basic, probably take it then, because you have a better chance of getting it. Obviously, they're offering it to you. Then if you wait until you go back to your unit, or to go to your first unit and try to get in on a slot there. So definitely I would say try to take it there. I'm going to skip ahead in the chat a little ways. I'm really far behind. And I apologize if I skipped over your question, but I don't want to go and get super far behind if, if there's people trying to ask questions. Like I said, if I skip over your question and it's super important to you, hit me up on Instagram. ThatChrisChaos. I think I have right there, right? Yeah. ThatChrisChaos. Follow me. Shoot me a message. I'll answer your question there when I get a chance. All right. So don't feel too bad if I missed your question. Why is there a lot of guys out there, but you and he used to, what? Wait a minute. Like that's kind of missing some context or some other stuff. I don't know what's going on there. What if I don't want to bring my family to my first duty station? Can they come at a later date? They can, but the key thing you have to be aware of is they used to have this thing in the Army called geographical bachelor. So if your family wanted to stay back home and you wanted to be where your duty station, or you had to be where your duty station is at, you could live in the barracks. And I don't remember, I think you would still get BAH for wherever your family was at. They don't do that anymore. They got rid of that like in 2014, 13, I forget when it was. But they no longer have that. So if you go and you leave your family back in whatever your town you're from and you get stationed, let's say wherever, right? You can't live in the barracks. You have to either live on post or you have to live in some kind of off post apartment or whatever. So you're going to get BH for where you're at. So if you have a family back in wherever you're from that still has to pay rent, well, you don't get extra money for both locations. You get the BAH for where you're at, and then you're just going to be stuck having to pay rent at 2 locations, kind of a thing. So be aware of that. All right, you can choose. Your family isn't forced to come to where you're at, but you're not going to get paid BAH for both locations. You're only going to get paid BAH for one location. And if you get a place on post, an on post housing, then they take away your BAH, so you won't receive BAH if you're living in on post housing. I signed already for 11 X-ray. There were no slots for airborne at the time, and I really want it. Is it too late, or do I get it into airborne school after basic? Was that the same question I already asked earlier? You can request it in basic training, and maybe they'll have a slot that opens up for you. Otherwise, you probably have to wait until your unit and try to get in on one of those slots. Do episode 2 to 68 whiskey? I might. It did okay. I don't think it did too bad of a video. It did average. It wasn't anything amazing or anything with that episode 1 of me reacting to what's realistic and not realistic about the show 68 Whiskey. So I'll probably do episode 2. I don't know if it'll be next Wednesday or maybe the following Wednesday. I don't know. But I probably will do episode 2 on it. If I enlist as 18 X-ray, when do they do the secret clearance? I don't want to enlist unless I know for sure I can get a clearance to do SF. I think they start processing the clearance probably during OSIT, possibly. I think. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that. But it's because getting a clearance can take a little bit. Sometimes it takes 6 months to a year, whatever. They probably start the process in OSIT, and then from there, hope that it goes through. I don't know the for sure answer on that. Can someone in the National Guard go to Ranger School? Yeah, you're just going to be maybe a little bit tighter on available slots. You'd have to talk to your unit school's NCO and see if they have any funding or whatever to send you to Ranger School. National Guard and Reserves, from what I understand, have a little bit harder time getting some of those schools compared to active duty, but that just kind of depends on a lot of factors. So you'd have to talk to that. Will asthma completely stop me from getting into the military? I think it depends on the severity of it, but that usually comes down to the determination of a doctor. Yeah, it's a nightmare, but on the plus side, we're not doing PT because of it, so that's the plus. So that's good. Yeah, good holy hand grenade. That's actually good that they're not making you do PT, because that would suck to be getting all sweaty and then you can't go shower after you get all done. So get a PT out of it. So that's kind of cool. That you get to have to skip out on PT. Chris, are you wearing a Celtic shirt? Looks cool. I think it is kind of like a little Celtic symbol kind of thing. It's an affliction shirt that I got a long ass time ago. This actually used to be blue, and it has over time just kind of faded to be black kind of a thing. But yeah, I guess that's kind of what it is. Answered that one. Hey Chris, is what I hear about blue phase all that true? What weapons are you trained in basic, and is blue phase all that fun? I couldn't tell you for sure. Like when I went through basic training, they had the phase colored stuff, but we didn't really go off of it, and they weren't really stressing it. So I don't really remember what blue phase is to really give you a good idea of how far into it we were when we got to blue phase and what it was like. Too well. But as far as weapons you're trained on, you'll do obviously the M4 because you have to qualify with that one. You'll do some familiarization with probably like a 240 Bravo, or some basic trainings will use the SAW. It just kind of depends, I think, sometimes. You'll probably do familiarization with the 203, which is the grenade launcher. You'll do a familiarization with a training round of an AT4 still typically, but all it is like a paint round. It doesn't have nearly the same effect as a real AT4 rocket launcher, but you'll do like a familiarization with that. And then you'll do hand grenades. You'll do some training with practice hand grenades and then throw 2 live hand grenades. So that's usually about it. There might be some other locations that add a few other things in there, like maybe the 50 cal possibly. It just kind of depends on the locations, but those are the pretty common ones as far as what you'll do. You usually don't do anything with pistols unless you do, I think they'll do that in, if you go through like OSIT for 19 kilo, they'll do some pistol stuff and maybe certain other MOSs, but just your basic combat training stuff usually doesn't do anything with any of the pistols. You have to have 4 years of college to do 18 X-ray? No, you don't have to do 4 years of college for 18 X-ray. You have to be a E3. You have to be able to come in as an E3 or have some kind of something to be able to get E3, which would be like an associate's degree. I have a friend who did 18 X-ray. He didn't have any college, and he was able to just do some stuff with a recruiter where they did some different stuff that was able to bump him up to an E3. But he didn't have a 4-year degree before he went 18 X-ray. But you also have to be, was it 21, 22? There's an age limit, a requirement. Like you can't come in right at being 18. Yeah, like someone else saying, do you have to be 20 years old to enter in the Army as an 18 X-ray? Yeah, I forget what the age limit is. Isn't it 22 or something like that? I said in the video, I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, they won't take you at 18 or 19. What is the PJs? I seen that on 68 Whiskey. Yeah, I watched that episode last night too. TV show when they was grounded. What is the PJs? It's essentially, from what I understand it, the Air Force's special forces. So the Army has the special forces, the Navy has the SEALs, Marines has MARSOC, and then Air Force has the PJs. From what I understand, I don't know a whole lot about it. I've just known a little bit here and there. If you want to join the 22nd Chaos Regiment, hit them up on Modern Warfare. Exactly. That's a newer thing. So if you want to be in so there's the Chaos Army, which if you're subscribed to the channel, you're part of the Chaos Army. There's the 57th Chaos Regiment, which is hitting that join button to become a member. And then there's the 22nd Chaos Regiment, which is on Call of Duty. If you wanted to do that, make sure you add me on Activision. The Activision name is ThatChrisChaos, so you can add me there. And then if you add me there and then send me a message saying you want an invite to the 22nd Chaos Regiment, then I can send you a message. I can send you an invite through Activision or through Call of Duty to invite you to the 22nd Chaos Regiment. I think I get a max of 20 slots. I think we don't have very many right now because it's a pretty new thing. I only just started doing it during that last Monday stream, so it's a fairly new thing. But yeah, that's how you can kind of join in on that. Not sure if he's still here, but life as a rigger depends on the unit. Aerial delivery units. Oh yeah, you're answering for the other guy. Yeah, I forget who it was. There's someone earlier in the chat was asking about that. Am I that far behind? Man, really far behind on these this thing. Volunteered for RASP and AIT. I have airborne in my contract. Will I be able to still have a slot if I already signed the volunteer sheet with the Ranger recruiter? I couldn't tell you for sure on that one. I'm not too familiar with that whole process of it. Volunteered for RASP at AIT. Have airborne in my contract. Because if you're going to go through RASP, usually they still send you to airborne school. I don't remember if it's a requirement though for RASP. I don't remember. So I'm not too sure on that one. I'm 35, Fox. It's hard academically, but really good base in Huachuca. Awesome. Fort Huachuca is a pretty cool location. I tried to get stationed there, but they didn't have any slots for me. Feel weird asking this, but how are 18 to 30-year-old men not allowed to... What? Wait, how? Not allowed to have sex? What do you mean? There's nothing that says that people between this certain age aren't allowed to do that. You're old men not allowed. Yeah, I don't know where you're getting that information from. There's no rule against your age limit as far as if you engage in sexual activities or something like that. There's only 2 gyms and 2 buildings on Camp Fusion? Funston, something like that, with working showers. But I'm not about to wait 30 minutes for a shower like in basic training. Yeah, that would suck. Just get baby wipes. Just get a bunch of baby wipes. Wipe yourself down. Call it good. Be all right. Not much. Waiting for March 2nd. Going to Fort Jackson for basic training. Good luck to you, Alan. Yes, please, to 22 CR. Yeah, like Evie was saying, that's like the gamer tag that you can add. And if you're part of the 22nd Chaos Regiment, then you can add the gamer tag of 22 CR if you want. And then that makes it to where that, because you're part of a regiment, it makes the gamer tag, I guess, in gold to show that everybody that you're a part of a regiment. Basic training was disappointing for me, so I volunteered for RASP. Hey, everybody has their own experiences with basic training. Some people love it, had a lot of fun. Some people hated it. It's just usually kind of a mix of people. I'm going in as E4. Awesome, Alan. What are the perks for going into the Army with a doctorate degree? Probably not a lot, because I mean, it really having a doctorate compared to just having a bachelor's degree is going to give you the same benefits. So really, there's no added benefit that I know of beyond already having a bachelor's degree. If you have a bachelor's degree, then you can come in. If you want to come in on the enlisted side, then you can come in as an E4 as a specialist, or if you want to go through OCS, or if you already have a bachelor's degree, then you can go go through OCS and try to get do the selection, or not selection, but go through the process to become an officer. But as a doctorate, I don't know of any advantage compared to having a bachelor's to a doctorate. It's probably equal and just the same. So it's probably just overkill. I don't know. I mean, maybe if you just wanted to achieve that before you went into the Army, cool. But probably having a doctorate probably would allow you to make better money on the civilian side. So I don't know. How can you do a 25 uniform in the Army? Enlist for it? To be a signal person? You have to just enlist for it in your contract. If I have my associate's degree, what rank would I be? You can come in as a PFC, as an E3, private first class, with an associate's. Hey Chris, do you know anything about, was it PAYS program? My recruiter told me about it and I'm interested. I've never heard of it, so I'm not sure what it is, what you do in it. Couldn't tell you. Who uses the combat knife and all that grenade missiles? What? Is it a combat knife? I've never heard of a combat knife. Enlisted as 89 Bravo ammunition specialist. What is my day-to-day going to be like? It can vary. I mean, typically they do a lot of the same similar jobs like 88 Mikes do in a way. But usually, like if there's ranges going on, different things for, you know, qualification to just basic training in general for your unit, then you're the responsible ones to have to go draw that ammo from somewhere's on base, take it out to wherever it's going to go to for the training, keep accountability of it, issue it out, and then pick it back up to turn it in and do all that stuff. So you do a lot of that stuff with ammunitions. If you're on a deployment or in the field, you have an AHA, an ammo holding area that you have to maintain, and you'll issue ammo out of there, and you just got to keep accountability of all the ammunition. And so you just do a lot of that stuff for training purposes. If it's a deployment, then it's a little bit bigger of an operation. You have a bigger area that you're probably storing a lot of ammo at, that you're responsible for the entire brigade or the entire division or whatever, depending on what unit you're in. And then you kind of have to maintain all that ammo there. I think I talked a little bit about that in the MOS Monday episode of 89 Bravo MOS. I talk a little bit about that stuff too. Yo, Chaos, when's the next Warfare stream? Let me get a shout out. What's up, Josh? Monday. So Mondays is always the planned days for Modern Warfare, because Modern Warfare Monday. But sometimes there's technical issues with freaking Modern Warfare. Sometimes come out with an update that is going to take 12 hours to download, and I can't stream on Monday, so sometimes I'll push it to Tuesday, or I'll just wait until the next week. But usually I try to do those on Mondays. So every Monday, I try to do the Call of Duty live stream stuff. Is the U.S. is so up on your supplies and inland? Why did they take? I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about there. It seemed kind of broken. I'm not too sure what you're talking about. I'm not getting this off the video. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Did you do airborne? And if you do you go to 101st or 82nd? I did not do airborne. There's several airborne units out there that people could end up going to. So it's no guarantee that you go to like the 82nd or the 101st or whatever. It's kind of just where they need airborne individuals. I'm going to Fort Jackson March 2nd. Well, good luck to you. PFC, was it Brock, is out, ship out in less than a month. Well, good luck to you, man. Have a good one. Do you have to be a PT stud to be offered airborne and basic training? No, it's probably just based on slots. I don't know. I guess it's up to the drill sergeants as far as who they want to offer it to. Probably look for people who've already volunteered for it and stuff like that. But I mean, they're going to make sure that you can pass your physical fitness test, you know, your ACFT. You know, if you're someone who barely passed the ACFT, you're probably not going to get offered it. So you just have to kind of keep that in mind. Remember, kids, if you're going to send your one-eyed ranger into combat, make sure he's wearing mop level 5. For some people, that probably went right over their head, and they had no idea we were talking about full hand grenade. But for some people, they might have been able to figure out what you were talking about there. Am I subscribed to Vet TV? I'm not. No. I've seen some of their stuff here and there. They do pretty cool stuff, but I don't watch that stuff regularly or anything like that. I'm not subscribed to it. We'll look my time. Scrolling through a little bit here because I got a little bit behind. Getting my 4th tattoo laser removal session tomorrow. It's the only thing holding up my enlistment process. Well, good luck to you. Hopefully that goes well. I heard that removing tattoos hurts worse than getting the tattoos, so that's a bummer. So I'm currently Army JROTC and am joining the Army. I've been told that I can go in as a PFC or specialist. Is that true? Definitely not a specialist. Specialist, pretty much the only way you can come in as a specialist is with a bachelor's degree. Some recruiters and with some MOSs sometimes are given the incentive of allowing you to come in as a PFC if you've done all 4 years of high school in JROTC. But there are some people that I've talked to where they're kind of getting really strict on it, and they've only been able to get E2. So it just kind of depends, and you'd have to talk to a recruiter about it, but you won't be able to get specialist. Specialist, the only way you can get specialist in the Army, coming into the Army directly into it, is if you have a bachelor's degree. You're living on base doing your MOS, and there are free gyms besides doing PT in the morning. Wait, if you're living on base doing your MOS, are there free gyms? Yeah, there's several gyms. Usually all the installations usually have several gyms. You usually don't get to use the gyms for PT. Typically, the only people in some bases, I know like Fort Carson's like this, where you're not allowed to go to the gym unless you're a higher ranking individual or on profile. In the mornings anyways, during PT hours. Beyond PT hours, it doesn't matter. But there's multiple gyms. They're free, with an ID card. You show your ID card, you get in, work out, do whatever you got to do. Some of them are really nice gyms too. So yeah, there's plenty of gyms usually on base. Hey Chris, what type of soldiers can apply for or get picked to serve as sentinels for the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier? I don't know a whole lot about the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier as far as who gets chosen to do that detail or to do that tasking or whatever. So I could not really tell you that too well. At some point in time, I'd like to do a video on the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and what it takes and to get into that position. But yeah, I don't know a whole lot about that kind of task or anything. What's up, Joe? Hey, Chris. Hope everything is going all right. No, I haven't seen that movie. What movie? What movie? We were talking about a movie before? So I don't remember. But what's up, Joe? Welcome. Welcome into the chat. Let's see. A lot of people in the stream going to Jackson at the same time. It's kind of funny, like I've seen before, like in the comments of some of the videos where people will say, they're taking off to this location at this time or whatever, and then someone else will respond in the comments, me too, maybe we'll meet up. I would love to hear, some stories about oh man, you watch the ThatChrisChaos channel? Me too. Oh, cool. I think that'd be kind of funny and pretty cool. Any tips for finances for young soldiers? Just trying to get in over your head. Try to make sure that you're not living paycheck to paycheck. Make sure that you're not overspending. It's good to have fun, but make sure you're not doing it to the point where you're blowing all your money on alcohol or blowing all your money on going to the clubs and large car payment if you're going to get a car. So you just have to kind of really kind of work on making sure that you have a good buffer, so that way if, you can have a little bit of fun, but then, you have a buffer of a certain amount of money that you want to keep in the bank. So that way if something goes down and you need to spend some money on fixing something on your car or whatever, then maybe you have that money to be able to use or whatever. There's sometimes usually they offer finance classes if you want to do that kind of stuff and take that extra initiative to do some of those things. But, it's all about usually just having a plan, maybe make a spreadsheet as far as the bills that you have to pay per month and allocate, with each paycheck, which bills you're going to pay and figure it out from there and kind of keep really good track of what's in your bank account and don't get too crazy on the weekends. Things like that, probably. Does for rank in the Army affect you if you want to do contracting work? Sometimes. There are some stuff like for where I work at where to do certain positions, you had to have been a officer or a sergeant major to get into certain positions. So sometimes yes, not always the case, but yeah, sometimes. Even if you come into basic as a specialist, you won't be able to make sergeant until you spend a few years in as a specialist. That's correct. I think I talked about it before in the last live stream where someone was asking if they come in as a specialist, how soon could they make sergeant? You still have the time and grade, time and service requirements. You can get one of those waived, but you can't waive both of those. So you have to meet one of those, whether it be the time and service requirement or the time and grade requirement. And I can't remember off the top of my head like what the time and grade and time and service requirement is to become an E5, to become a sergeant, but you still have to meet those requirements. So you might get to, start off coming into the Army making more money than everybody else, but you might be stuck as a specialist for a while still before you meet the requirements to be able to move up to being a sergeant, even though you came in as a specialist. So you still have those basic requirements you have to meet. You can easily Google that, the time and grade, time and service requirements for sergeant in the Army, and you can find out what that is. But yeah. Was I in JROTC? They did not have JROTC in my school, so I was not. I want to get my bachelor's degree and I want to go to OCS at the same time. Is that possible? You would probably rather want to go to a college that has a I'm going to slip my mind. The program to become an officer? OCS? No. OCS. I don't know why it slipped my mind right now. There's the school. Somebody will say in the chat a little bit later probably because I'm drawing a blank. I don't know why I can't think of it. It's a real simple thing. But there's a college program that you go through to actually become an officer. OCS. No. OCS is what you get when you're... Anyways, you go through that program and then you're going through college while you're doing your Army training to become an officer. And then you get, after 4 years of college, you get commissioned as a lieutenant. So that would be the route you would want to go in there. It's driving me nuts. Someone's got to say it in the chat. Why am I drawing a nuts or drawing a blank as far as the name of the program in college? ROTC. Nobody said it yet, but I just clicked in my mind. ROTC. You'd want to find a college that has an ROTC program, and you would want to go through ROTC to do that rather than going and get your bachelor's degree and trying to do OCS at the same time because you can't do it that way. You have to go through ROTC to get that. Ranger tab, was someone talking about something earlier? You're probably right, but it's still a question. Like some Army privates used to be training. I don't know what you're talking about for that one. What's happening, Old Reliable? How's it going? After airborne school, what's the likelihood I will deploy if I'm stationed at Bragg, possibly 82nd? It all comes down to the unit. If you didn't see that video I recently put out, was it last week or whatever, on who deploys? It just comes down to your unit, right? It doesn't matter if you're airborne qualified, if you're not airborne qualified, if you're an 11 Bravo, if you're a cook. It depends on the unit. So it depends on the unit you're in as far as what their schedule looks like for upcoming deployments. Fair warning, Jackson is not so relaxing, at least in my experience. Yeah, everybody just likes it because it rhymes, right? And I know people gave it that nickname, especially because, compared to like Benning and stuff. But for the most part, from I have experience from Benning, which I don't know what it was like at Jackson or at Leonard Wood for basic training or any other basic training locations. So I can't really say that Fort Benning was the hardest one because I've never attended the other basic training, so I can't really say. But I know a lot of people like to say relax in Jackson, mainly because it rhymes though. I don't really know if it's really that much easier compared to any other basic training. To join the 22nd Chaos Regiment, do I gotta change my clan name to 22CR? You don't have to, no. You can, like, if you want to be in it, you just hit me up on Instagram or something like that. Tell me your gamer tag and you want to be in it, have an invite into the regiment. You can't, if you're going to join my regiment, it won't allow you to join multiple regiments. So if you have like some buddies that are creating a regiment and you want to join theirs, then you probably want to stick with that. But if you want to join mine, you can, because you can only be a part of one regiment. You can't be a part of multiple regiments. You don't have to add the gamer tag. If you have a gamer tag that you like to keep and you want to use, you can still do that. Just the only thing that it does is it puts your name in gold compared to just your normal name the way it is. So that's the only benefit. But yeah, if you're in the regiment, you don't have to change your gamer tag. It just doesn't give you any extra perks as far as changing the color of your name. I don't think it changes automatically. I know it said holy hand grenade. I think you physically have to do it, because I don't think it changes automatically. I think you have to. I think you have to go in there and change it. I'm 17, going to Fort Benning, July 20th. Any advice? Pretty much the same thing I've always said to everybody else that was asking for advice, kind of a thing. Go in there expecting to suck really bad, and if it turns out to be fun or not as bad as you thought, then cool. But if you go in there with the mind of, oh, this is gonna be super easy, oh, this is gonna be a lot of fun, and it turns out to suck really bad, then it's gonna kind of really mess with you. So just go in there thinking it's gonna suck really horribly, and hopefully it turns out better than you thought. Christopher, what's the best time to buy a car? I'm going in as an E4, planning to save and buy a cheap car. I don't know if there's a best time. I mean, sometimes you can get better deals on, say, if you're trying to get a new car, if you can afford a new car, sometimes later in the year, because sometimes say like for right now, you know, we're in 2020. So the 2020 editions sometimes go on sale towards the later part of the year to make room for the 2021s or whatever. So that sometimes plays a factor, but depending on what your finances look like, you may not want to go with a brand new car. You might have to start off with a used car. It just depends on what your finances look like. Maybe you can, afford to do a brand new car, but usually it's, for new cars, usually around the end part of the year, because some of the newer ones are going on sale to make room for some of the newer models that they want to get into the inventory. My dad was an E6 and took him 14 years to make it to that point. Yeah, and that can really just depend on the MOS. There are some MOSs that it's a lot easier to rank up in, and you can get through a lot faster and you rank up faster. Other MOSs, it takes longer because of the point system. That usually only applies for people trying to make sergeant and staff sergeant and sergeant first class and so on and so forth. For the most part, E1 through E4 is a set thing. No matter what your MOS is, that's kind of a set kind of time frame to where you don't have to worry about it as much. But for those individuals looking to go past the specialist, that depends on your MOS as far as how long it'll take you to get into that sometimes, because you may meet the requirement as far as time and grade and time of service, but if you don't have the point requirements, then that makes it really tough to make points to get promoted. How difficult is it to get into contracting? Sometimes it's about who you know, to be honest. Sometimes you got to know somebody to get a good word in so that they'll bring you on. But I don't know what if it's easy or not easy. I got lucky because I knew somebody, and that's usually the story with a lot of people. A lot of people got into the work because they knew somebody who's already in the business and got an in through there. How hard is it to be a drill sergeant? It's, probably not easy. I've never been through there's a school you have to go through. So if you get selected, because, you can volunteer to be a drill sergeant, but then you can sometimes just get selected to go to drill sergeant school and become a drill sergeant as well. And I forget how long the course is, but there's a course you have to go through, and I heard it sucks really bad. It's basically like going through basic training, but longer. I don't know if it's longer. I don't remember, but it's basically like going through basic training all over again to kind of, get treated like crap and like learn how to do, different things as a drill sergeant and all sorts of other craziness from what I've heard from some of the people that I've known that have gone through drill sergeant school. So I don't know how hard it is to be one. You can volunteer for it though, if you qualify. Thank you for answering my question. Well, thanks. And again, for those of you that missed it earlier when I said it, I'm jumping through the comments section here and there, and so I'm probably skipping over a lot of people's questions. And if you try later asking it again or whatever, and I still don't answer it, hit me up on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, send me a message, and within a day, a week or less, I'll probably respond back to you, and I can try to really help you out if you send me a message on Instagram. Can a specialist smoke a PFC? We had an E4 promotable who kept smoking us. I guess. Because technically, the person outranks you, so it depends on the other leadership as far as if they really want to do that. So they could, technically, probably, if they really wanted to. I mean, some people, you know, don't go that extreme with it, you know, and some people, you know, because you're still just another enlisted soldier, then, you know. But I guess you could. Fort Bliss, Texas, 80s had a T-shirt, 30 feet from water to feet from hell. What? I'm not sure what that means though. Chaos, the course is 3 months. My dad went through it. Oh, for drill sergeant school? Yeah, I thought it was long. I thought it was longer than basic training, but I wasn't 100% sure. Yeah, but I've heard it sucks. I heard it's pretty rough. I don't know for sure, though. I've never been through it, but I've heard from people that have gone through it that it's worse than basic training in some ways. Some people felt it was worse than basic training. So that's kind of makes it kind of tough, but yeah. If there's an E4 Mafia, are there the Sham Wars? I think I've ever heard of Sham Wars. E4, but we don't talk about the E4 Mafia. All right, we are at just over an hour right now, so I usually typically do these live streams for an hour. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to do it for a little bit longer after the stream is over for members only. If you're a member, then you can join in. Otherwise, I'm going to try it out for maybe like a few minutes, 10 minutes, see if anybody really wants to hang out. If not, maybe we'll try it a different way. But I just wanted to try this way of trying to do the whole thing of doing a members only live stream after the regular live stream. Maybe I might try it some other times where it's before the regular live stream or its own dedicated time or whatever. So if you're a member, then you can come join that. If you're not a member and you want to become a member, well, there's a join button down below the video. If you're watching this on a mobile device, you might have to go down to the description to find, there's a thing that says, you know, for joining, there's a link that you can go to and you can join the membership. You can join at any tier that you wish to join at. Any tier gets you into the members only live streams that we're kind of been adding into this whole repertoire and all that stuff. So if you're interested in that, you check that out. I'm gonna go backwards a little bit in the chat. I know I probably missed a lot of questions. So maybe I'll do one or two older questions that I probably skipped over, and then maybe one or two newer questions before we end this live stream. If my girlfriend won't let me join, do I listen or kick her to the curb? I guess that depends on your relationship, or as how serious you are. Not in the military, but there is a such thing as bulletproof masks. I can imagine what else people have. I don't think I've ever heard of bulletproof masks. Pretty extreme. I'm trying to find a really good question that maybe I skipped over. I know I skipped some questions, but some of these are like you guys responding back to each other. And some of these are like questions someone asked, but then someone answers it later. I can't find anything good. It's not just quickly scrolling through anyways. So what's this one? In AIT, got a counseling for not having dog tags, broke during PT, got promoted in basic, never had a counseling. You think I will be good if I don't get another one? 17 weeks AIT training? What'd you get promoted to though? So, I mean, if your AIT is really long, you might be lucky enough to get a second promotion kind of thing, but I don't know. A lot of times it just depends on leadership if they want to go through the extra effort of putting you in for a waiver to get promoted early. You have to usually stand out. Otherwise, you have to go through the basic process of the normal time and length and everything like that to get promoted. And then if you meet that requirement, then cool, you get promoted. But otherwise, if you're outside of that window, then yeah. Did you serve with Bobby Henline? I did. A good friend of mine. Bobby's awesome. His nickname was the Gun Show. But yes, he was when I was in 30 ACR. He was in my squad. He was actually I was a team leader. He was the squad leader, I think, for that squad, or maybe he was in a different squad. I forget what it was. But me and him used to hang out all the time. Awesome dude. And I really love his story of after the horrible things that happened to him with getting blown up in Iraq, how he turned his depression around and became a comedian. He was always a funny dude. I have video footage of him on my computer where we were goofing around in the motor pool in Iraq during our first deployment, and he had this really small dude go and slam him through a plastic table. We were throwing a bunch of trash away and stuff like that, and a table was in there, and he wanted to try to do like wrestling and go through the table. And so we got a guy who choke slams him through the table, and the table didn't break as easily as we were hoping for, though. So it was a little bit of a pain in the ass, but it was pretty funny. I did a little video with him where he was like doing some airborne stuff because he used to be in the airborne, and he was jumping off of a truck. And so yeah, Bobby Henline is awesome. If you guys are not familiar with him, he's a comedian. He was in the Army. He got blown up by an IED, tragic story kind of a thing. And rather than letting depression get the better of him, he turned it around and started doing stand-up comedy. He jokes, even he's severely burned, and he even makes jokes about that, and tries not to let it get him down. For Halloween, he a lot of times dresses up as Freddy Krueger and all this stuff. So awesome dude. But yes, I was stationed with him on Fort Carson. We were in 30 ACI together, and we were in the same squad together too. So awesome dude. Let's see, maybe one more question. I'm looking to see here. I don't really see anything too crazy. Some of you guys I know are just talking about other stuff in the chat. Hey Chris, do you get to keep anything that they was it supposed to maybe give you after your contract expires with the Army? Usually stuff that has direct contact with your skin, the uniforms, gloves, eye protection, a lot of other things that maybe had direct contact with your skin. A lot of times you keep that stuff. So usually the more expensive stuff is things you have to turn in. Chris, can a soldier take emergency leave if he has no leave saved up? They have ways to do that where I think they have you go into the negative. But yes, usually if it's emergency leave, I think they'll allow you to go in the negative or something like that. So, all right, so I think that's going to end it, guys, for the live stream. If you are a member or you want to become a member, I'll do a little bit of a members only live stream after this one for a short amount of time. We'll hang out, we'll see how that kind of goes and play with that and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, then tomorrow there'll probably be a video, possibly. We'll see how things go. Maybe a new video live tomorrow. If not, maybe I might push it next week. But if anything, if there's no video tomorrow, then Monday we'll be back for some Modern Warfare live streaming and then all that kind of stuff. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you didn't already, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to do so. I greatly appreciate it. So you guys are awesome. See you guys next time. See ya.